Once upon a time, in a far-off kingdom, there was a girl who was known as Cinderella, and man, did she love her some balls? But this one ball had a dress code and she didn't have a fancy enough dress. So while her stepsisters were getting all dolled up to go to the ball, Cindy was stuck at home. And then an idea struck her like a bolt of lightning. She remembered an old folk tale about a cottage deep in the woods where a family of bears lived. The cottage was filled with delicious foods and comfy beds and no bears. See, the bears would only eat after midnight when their human skin suits were clean, and they could pass for humans. And that's when Cindy decided to sneak into their cottage and steal some clothes from their closet. She tiptoed through the forest, avoiding all the trees and bushes that could have scratched her dress, and right when she thought she was gonna make it, she tripped over a root and fell flat on her face. When she looked up, she saw a pair of furry legs and a very cute bare face staring down at her. "Oh hello," said Cindy nervously. "I didn't mean to intrude. I just need some new duds, and yours are just so soft and fluffy." The bear blinked slowly, and then lumbered away. Cindy cautiously got up and followed the sound of crunching, until she saw a table laden with porridge. Now, Cindy was famished because she hadn't eaten since breakfast, so she started piling spoonful after spoonful of porridge into her mouth. It was so tasty, creamy, and delicious. She licked the bowl clean and then went to grab another one. "What do you think you're doing?" a voice boomed behind her. Cindy whirled around to see 3 pairs of glowing eyes staring at her in the darkness. Then they introduced themselves as the bear family. "And we eat all of our food after midnight," said Mama Bear. "When you finish those bowls of porridge, it turns back into oatmeal packets. So please leave before that happens." Cindy thought about leaving, but her stomach growled loudly. And then an idea struck her like a bolt of lightning. She asked if she could just stay a few minutes until midnight, so she could finish her dinner. The bears agreed, but warned her that if she didn't leave by the time the clock struck 12, she would be stuck in the cottage forever. Cindy sat down and started digging in again, but she wasn't the only one who wanted a midnight snack. Suddenly, the door burst open and a girl with a basket of supplies stumbled in. "Oh my," she exclaimed when she saw Cindy eating the last of the porridge. "I'm so sorry, I didn't know anyone else was here." Cindy and the girl introduced themselves, and then Goldilocks asked if she could have some porridge, too. She explained that she was on her way to the 3 little pigs' houses, but they had locked their doors to keep the big bad wolf away. And now she was starving. Cindy felt a little guilty because she knew how it felt to be hungry, but she also knew how good that porridge tasted. So she tried to convince Goldilocks to wait until the clock struck 12, and they could eat as much porridge as they wanted. But Goldilocks refused. And then they started arguing. Goldilocks said that she should get all the porridge, because she was on a quest to defeat the big bad wolf. Cindy argued that she should get all the porridge, because she was going to a fancy ball where everyone would stare at her while she ate it. The fight escalated until Cindy shoved Goldilocks and knocked the porridge bowl out of her hands. The two of them stared at each other awkwardly for a moment, then started to giggle. Soon they were both doubled over in laughter. And when they finally looked up, they saw the clock on the wall. It was nearly midnight. They quickly finished the last of the porridge and waited. In unison, they watched as the porridge vanished and was replaced by 4 plain oatmeal packets. The bears came in, saw the empty bowls, and sighed sadly. They changed back into their human skin suits and introduced themselves as Mr. Bear, Mrs. Bear, and their daughter, Little Bo Peep. Cindy apologized for eating all the porridge and destroying their special tradition. But Mr. Bear waved his paw dismissively. "It's just oatmeal," he said. "We can just go buy more." But Cindy insisted on treating them to a night out. She took them to a fancy restaurant where they feasted on escargot and beer. As the night wore on, Cinderella realized that maybe, just maybe, porridge wasn't all that bad. After all, they were all eating it with their hands, not their mouths. And what could be better than that? The end.